You better strap in for this one, cause today we are diving into deep, one of the wildest, most dramatic hip hop breakdown scenes, ever. I'm talking about the saga of Dev Blunt and Kanye West, but now goes by the name Ye. Yo, before we dive in, grab yourself something to sip on or a little snack. This one's gonna be wild. Get comfy. We are about to break this down properly. This nigga Dev Blunt went from being handpicked by Ye himself to write on his album to publicly cutting him off with the wildest line ever. You are very lost. Please find God. Jesus. Oof. When a rising rapper tells Ye himself to get right with the Lord, you know it's about to get messy, bruh. And messy it got. We got diss tracks flying, leaked DMs, allegations of grooming, and mental health that spiraled. That had the whole culture holding its breath. Like, is Dave okay? Or, like, for real, like, is he okay? But let's be clear, this isn't your average beef. Nah, this is the story about power, about faith, about betrayal, and what happens when a young artist like Dave Blunt stands tall in the shadow of a giant like Ye and says, nah, nigga, I'm good. You can keep your shit. Look, man, I first heard about Dave Blunt when those viral clips of him started flooding my feed. You know, the ones where he is just sitting on a couch, barely moving, performing like he's in his own world. No hype dancers, no chaos, no Dave being Dave. So fans didn't know whether to laugh or to be concerned. Some thought he was going through something, even Snoop Dogg himself chimed in at one point. Yeah, Snoop. The Snoop from Cali. The two had a little back and forth online, but eventually they squashed it. No bad blood, they are cool now. It was more confusion than beef. But that's the crazy thing about Dave. That man's virality never comes from where you expect. One week, people are saying he's on lean. The next week, someone's proving the cup in his hand is completely empty. I even saw that clip myself, and I think it was in an Adam 22 interview where he is holding this cup, but you can see there is literally nothing in it.
Don't come around me, stop coming around me and my friends. Like, I don't want you around, you know what I'm saying?
That's when I realized this dude trolling the whole culture. All that talk about codeine and promethazine in his lyrics is more of a parody. In real life, he doesn't touch that stuff. It's like he's playing with the image of what a modern rapper is supposed to look like by exposing it, by exaggerating it. And then there is his so-called dating life, if you can even call it that. Every other week, he's posting pictures with different women, claiming each one as his girlfriends. Fans can't tell if he's serious, trolling, or just having fun. But honestly, that's the whole charm of Dev Blunt. He doesn't take himself too serious. He will mock his own lifestyle, joke about his flaws, and still drop something that hits deep when you least expect it. His humor is always part of his message. I quote, yeah, this industry is wild, but I mean on the joke. So yeah, Dave might have started trending for sitting on a couch and holding an empty cup, but there is more depth behind the meme. He is one of those artists who understand the absurdity of fame and uses it as part of his art. Whether he's joking about fake lean, posting random girlfriends, or poking fun at himself in songs, he's showing that self-awareness can be just as powerful as raw talent. And look, in hindsight, that context hits different when you do know about all this, because when someone is already fighting a mental or a spiritual battle, and then they go ahead and start working with Ye. So Ye is a man who basically be breathing in chaos. That wasn't just a collab, that was pouring gasoline on a spark. And everybody who was paying attention knew it was only a matter of time before something exploded. Alright, so let's take this back a bit. Dave Blunt isn't one of those industry darlings getting groomed in LA or Atlanta. Nah, he was grinding out of Salt Lake City, carving his name from the ground with verses that sounded like open wounds stitched together by rhythm. Then came the call that changed his whole orbit. Yet the same man who, at the time, was deep in one of the wildest chapters in his life reached out to Dave to work on the project in a perfect world. This was during Year Storm. The anti-Semitic outburst, the industry meltdowns, the public unraveling that had the whole world watching in disbelief. But in that chaos, something rare happened. Ye let outsiders into his creative hurricane. And Dave Blunt, he wasn't just some assistant in the corner. He was in the lab crafting songs like World War III and Cousins. Both tracks hit like diary pages, read out loud. Dark, aggressive, unsettling. In World War III, Ye and Blunt painted a portrait of a world at war with itself. Paranoia, betrayal, spiritual confusion. It wasn't just a political, it was personal. Kanye is pushing on a nerve. He isn't just rapping outrage, he's trying to flip the script on oppression. He leans into lines like rocking Sositska, cause all my niggas Nazis, and references reading Mein Kampf, as if to claim those symbols and phrases for himself instead of letting them own him. We have seen him do something similar before. During the Jesus era, Kanye dropped the Confederate flag on jackets and merch. He said, I took the Confederate flag and made it my flag. He wanted to turn a symbol of white supremacy into an instrument of shock, to challenge the owners of that hate. Because part of what Kanye seems to be doing is trying to own those symbols and words, taking tools of oppression and making them part of his myth. Whether you call it defiance or reckless provocation, the line he tries to walk is about claiming language, about also rewriting the narrative. It's bold, dangerous, and it forces us to question which voices get to speak, which symbols get to live, and who gets to transform them. Him and Dave Blunt, they did World War III, and also they did Cousins. And Cousins, the track turned the whole internet upside down. The whispers, the rumors, and the lyrical hints attached on family trauma and blurred the boundaries and alleged intimacy between Ye and the relative. In this case, the relative being the cousin. It was the kind of content that made you stop the music mid-play and just stare at the wall like, wait, what did I just hear? And honestly, all that allegedly happened, they were kids, children, growing up in confusion under pressure before therapy was even a word in the world. So yeah, it's crazy, but it's also tragic because behind all the controversy, there is still that kid from Chicago carrying unprocessed pain that just never found peace, and now spilling into art through someone like Dave Blunt, who got caught in the middle of genius and trauma colliding in real time. People said World War III and Cousins were too far, too raw, and maybe they were, but they also showed us something about the state Ye was in. Ye was brilliant, broken, but also still searching himself. And for Dave, it was like standing next to a lightning bolt. Powerful, career-changing, but dangerous as hell. For a moment, it looked like the perfect setup. Ye getting a new pen to channel his chaos, and Dave getting into his biggest concern yet. But looking back, it feels different, heavier. Because sometimes the collab that makes your career is also the one that marks your soul. Then September hit, and oh man, the whole thing went public. Dave posted this vague but clear message. Stop asking me about Ye music. I don't work with dude anymore. I am on my own path. But you all know the internet ain't gonna leave it there. Nah, the receipts dropped. Leaked texts show Dave telling Ye straight up, I can't continue to work on this album. I'm on my own journey. And yeah, man, he replies all calm like, okay, thank you. What parts didn't align? Almost like he didn't see the blow coming. But then Dave hit him with the line that broke the internet. The one that had group chats blowing up for days. You are very lost. Please find God. That wasn't just saying I'm out. Nah, that was a spiritual unplugging. A young artist looking his idol dead in the eye through a text message and saying, I can't follow you, not in the studio and not in life, man. But yo, it didn't stop there. Dave took all that hurt and dropped it straight into music, something Tag should have also done that time when he was coming out of jail. But you see him, he took his time. But let us not start talking about Young Tag, that's another topic. First came a title called Tired of Being Groomed, and the title alone had the culture frozen. He came with a bar that hit like a gut punch. I quote, Kanye West, he made me diss the Jews. I'm so sick and tired of being groomed. Let that sink in, niggas. That's not just calling gay problematic. That's accusing him of straight up grooming him into hate. But then Dave came back even with a harder track, and this time he went straight for the throat. I quote, Kanye off his rocker. I think Kanye off his meds. Say you ain't gay, then you giving your cousin hate. Mind you, this the same man that was there working with Ye, but now is here beefing with him, talking shit about him like crazy. But as I had said in the introduction, Dave Blunt met Ye when he wasn't at his best, and Ye also himself, he is not at his best. He hasn't been for some years, bro. It's crazy. Yo, that second bar, that was a kill shot. Not only did he go at Ye's mental health, he flipped Ye's own controversial track Cousins and threw it back in his face. That ain't just ending their relationship, that's salting the earth so nothing ever grows there again. Dave wasn't just leaving the room, he blew the whole building on his way out. So what do we make of all this? Let's let it out plain. On one side you got Dave accusing Ye of manipulation, grooming and pushing him toward some of the most toxic ideologies out there. On the other side, Ye, who hasn't even acknowledged any of it. He's just keeping the album rollout moving like nothing even happened. Just normal classic Ye shit. But here's the real takeaway, and listen closely. A cosign from a megastar ain't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a deal with the devil. Yes, you get the exposure, but you also get their controversies, their enemies, their whole chaotic worldview. And for Dave, the baggage was so heavy almost broke him. And when he finally decided to walk away, he didn't just disappear. Nah, he turned his exile into a cultural statement. One that changed how we see Dave Blunt and maybe, just maybe, how some of us may be seeing Ye. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, man. This whole situation, it hits different for me cause like I said, I didn't find Dave through a hit record. I found him through fans who were generally scared for his life. And to watch him go from that fragile public low to standing face to face with Kanye West in a battle of wills, that can't just be a rap drama. That's a whole spiritual and emotional roller coaster. But here is what's really spinning in my head. Is Dave really exposing Kanye's dark side? Pulling back the curtain on grooming and manipulation? Or is this a mix of hurt feelings, personal pain, and maybe a little strategic clout? Whatever side you are on, one thing's clear, this ain't just about diss tracks or Instagram subtweets. This is about what happens when faith, fame, and mental health crash into each other under the blinding lights of the hip-hop world. So, I'm turning it over to y'all. What's your take? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you are hungry for more real conversations about the stories shaping the culture, you already know what to do. Subscribe to Mike Lance. Peace! I'm out!